Welcome to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Well, former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has not been in the news lately. That's because we have been ignoring her. She is a notorious liar. We don't have any use for her insipid propaganda or her dumb talking points in support of the Democratic Party. Well, apparently she's done with this water carrying for a broken, radicalized Democratic Party, and she lashed out in comments. We're going to break this down, but before we do, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Karine Jean-Pierre, she is almost as bad as Jen Psaki, who I guess she is on MSNBC now. Well, it looks like KJP, she is a little bit left out of the spotlight and she wants to get back into it. So she is lashing out against the Democratic Party, but she's also doing a bit of truth telling that most Democrats don't do. So this is why we're going to pay attention to this story, because KJP, well, after lying her butt off for years in support of the Biden administration, she is speaking up about what went down and why it was wrong what the Democratic Party did in the 2024 election. Of course, that is when they carried out a coup against a sitting president who came into office already under extremely dubious conditions. That's right, blue states around the country weaponized the COVID pandemic in order to carry out very shaky, legally dubious laws and election rule changes effectively to send out mass mail-in ballots without really checking who was sending them in. So Americans still have a lot of questions about that and how it went down. But regardless, Trump was somehow elected again. And KJP, well, she couldn't believe it. She saw Joe Biden, the sitting president, taken down by Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris, who didn't win a single primary, which is quite unbelievable. This is the Democratic Party, mind you, and they want to talk about there being no kings. Well, Donald Trump won his primaries fair and square. He won the 2024 election fair and square. He has followed the law in this country, and it's really the rogue jurists around the nation who have tried to issue fiats that aren't backed up by the rule of law. The Supreme Court had to smack them down, tell them, no, you can't use nationwide injunctions to unconstitutionally and undemocratically overrule a president who you just don't agree with. No, so Karine Jean-Pierre, she is speaking out, and she has decided to become an independent after years of party flack. And in an excerpt of her book called Independent, Jean-Pierre detailed a phone call in which then President Joe Biden told the White House team that he was dropping out of the race. And this is a quote: "Biden seemed to be totally at peace with his decision, but I was stunned. My feelings a blur. I was angry and sad. I was enraged and heartbroken that this man had given more than 50 years of his life to serving the American people, and in the end he'd been treated poorly by his members of his own party. It was horrible," unquote. So Jean-Pierre revealed that she never thought Biden would drop out, and she repeatedly touted Biden's physical and mental viability. I mean, this is not credible. And she denied his cognitive decline would effectively lead to the end of his presidency. Of course, we know now that the auto pen was abused to sign pardons and commutations and possibly a lot of executive actions and orders that Joe Biden had no idea what was going on. Of course, he vacationed more than any other president in 4 years. He was often in Delaware, sleeping on a beach. He took his nappies at around 8 p.m. He was clearly not running the presidency. And here was KJP, the prime water carrier for the presidency. And apparently she didn't want to go down with the ship. She's trying to get on a life raft with this partisan revisionist telling of her time in office. And nobody's really buying it, not your revisionist history or your book. And you can pretend to be independent all you want, but we know that you're a flack and you're a woman for hire, and we know this, and your career is effectively done because you went down with the Biden presidency. I think it's quite amusing, but weigh in with your own thoughts. We always appreciate hearing from you at Explain America.